Hey, what is going on? This is Martha, owner of MDMC Entertainment, and I am trying to catch up on all these podcasts and videos. It's been a weird, I mentioned this last video, it's been a really weird October for me. And so just trying to get everything, I'm trying to catch up here, which is totally fine. We're fine. We're going into the new year, and I think I'm trying to end season 3 with at least 17 episodes. That's my hope. I may have to do double episodes a week, but as long as you get the information, I don't care. As long as you get it. Business building, I think, as a podcast has been. I remember when we started this, we started in 2020 during the pandemic because we had nothing going on. But yet we had all of these really cool ideas. And so that's when the show started, and it really flourished because people were just at home and not doing anything. So I got to interview a ton of people. I need to bring more guests on the show. It's just, this has not been the priority that it should be. And I need to fix that here soon. So nonetheless, I still have a lot of things to talk about. I'm surprised actually, because I even had I forgot who told me. It might have been my mom. It's like, how do you know? How do you talk to people? Like, how do you keep bringing up relevant stuff that people care to listen to? I was like, honestly, I don't know. Because I have a little fan base. Like, I am not by any means, and I think listening to Jenna Kutcher is getting me mad. Which shouldn't. It's really I'll get there. Let's just put it that way. I get upset because I know there are people that watch me, and the reason I know this, I may not see it online. So here's the fun thing about being in marketing or knowing your own business and you have access to analytics. My analytics for everything across the board is in the green. Okay. What's not in the green is interaction, the way people are responding to the content. It is red. So I get in front of a lot of eyeballs organically, but when it comes to interaction, none. So the reason I know that I should still be working, still doing stuff, is because when I actually go out into the public, I don't like to leave the house. Outside is expensive, so I'll buy my groceries and hunker down in the house. I will just not leave. I'm okay with that. But when I get out and I see people are like, oh, hey, I saw you did this and you did that. That's dope. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, really? Why don't you like it? Why aren't you commenting? Why aren't you liking her? Oh, I'm busy. Man, get out of here. And I had this confirmed. I was just back home with family, and everyone knew everything. And I'm like, why aren't you people liking my stuff? Hit the like button. So at least I know what's happening. But I do know because I have to look at the data of it all, at the big picture thing. And I'm like, okay, people are watching, people are looking, people are paying attention. They're just not interacting with it because they don't want to. And I posted this thing on TikTok, or not on TikTok, but I saw it on TikTok. I posted it on IG stories on I think it was the business account. Yeah. And it said that people don't interact with your content because they don't like you. They're just watching you to see you fail. And I totally believe that because I have the biggest anti-hero underdog story of all time. And I know that's a fact. I just had, and it was weird because there are people that I've interacted with in this lifetime that have done me dirty, and I have seen them. And I think yesterday caught me off guard where one of them was liking my previous post. I was like, what the hell? What is wrong with you, girl? You cost me a job and you're over here liking my post. Get the fuck out of here. No. But I know just by data. And just recently with my personal Instagram account, I had to, when I was at LAX Fan Fest, because I took this really cute picture of me sitting in front of my banner, I was like, it should be a paid, I don't want to go back and post again on my page and then on the MDMC page, because then one page gets less likes than the other page and blah, blah, blah. And I said, let me just make this like a partnership. Well, I had to upgrade my personal account, which was just a regular account, to a creator account. The analytics on that, on my quote unquote personal account, is jarring. Like, I finally saw, and I always, when I sat there, I know, and especially I think after my trip from Mexico is when I felt every time I do something big, I feel a shift in the world. And I don't know if that's just because I may be a little bit of an empath or just general vibes I pick up, but there are major shifts after I do big things. So the first shift was after the billboard in Times Square. Yeah, I got a lot of love, but I also got a lot of hate on that one. I accomplished great things. And then after the Mexico trip, people were super invested because I got off the grid. And when I say I got off the grid, I meant like I was completely like I wasn't posting anything. Like I posted maybe a couple quotes here and there that I saw on IG, but no one knew where I was. And I'm the type of person, if I'm somewhere, you're gonna see I'm somewhere. And so the day that I don't know, I looked really cute. I was in Mexico City. I was in the elevator and I took this really cute elevator selfie. And I was like, I think I put the location was unknown. And when you click on it, it's like in the middle of the ocean or something. And I was like, I look mad cute. I was like, destination unknown. And so I'm like off the grid. And so I put the song. Now it's no longer makes sense, but it was Kanye. Kanye is now officially canceled, so I cannot use his music anymore. But Off the Grid was one of those songs. And so I was like, off the grid. People are like, where are you? I'm like, shh, that's the point. You're not supposed to know where I am. And so it was really hard for me not to post anything from that trip because I didn't want it jinxed. There was a lot of things that happened on that trip that made it felt like people knew I was there, even though I wasn't. And so I waited until I was safely back in San Diego and I was like, all right, here are my vacation trip pictures. And so for like a straight week, I posted my best favorite pictures and posted stuff on stories. And I'm like, oh, this was so much fun. And what I was doing was I was offloading a lot of that onto like my Dropbox. I'm like, all right, here's, because I took maybe 500 pictures when I was on that trip. And when I came back is when I felt another shift and I was like, oof. So I feel it. I know it. There are people out there that are watching. They're just hating. It's like, geez. And so, which makes this episode extremely hard to talk about, but it's also very important. It's like, how do you stay relevant? In business and in life, I have a hard time. There are days, I'm not going to lie, there are days I don't want to post anything. I have gone back and forth. Oh, God. I have gone back and forth with wanting to delete all of my social media because I don't know. I like I said, I do have a small tribe of fans of people that are like rooting for MDMC, rooting for me. And it's funny because when I had, Alex from Facts of Life come out to LAX Fan Fest, he surprised me with that trip. He's like, hey, I'm going to be there to support you. I'm like, no way. And he's like, yes way. I'm like, yeah. And I was like, oh my God, you're going to see all these people. You're going to meet all my connects. And sure enough, like I do have people that are truly invested and are rooting for me. And I appreciate it. And I tell Alex, he's like my biggest fan. Sorry, Alex, but it's true. Like literally, I've never had a friend, and I had that conversation with my mom because my origin story is one that I'm writing, and I don't know if I want to even say this, but I am writing a book about my life and how I got here. And there are a lot of hard things in that book that I've had to come face to face with. How do I say this? It is extremely hard for me to be out here and push and push and push who I am, what I do. But there's another part of me that no one knows about. And writing about that, and like I said, I have the biggest underdog story of all time. From growing up to not fitting in, like the main, basically, let me just give you the Cliff Notes version. I don't fit in anywhere. I never have, and I never will. Period. And the reason for that is people have tried for years to put me in boxes I don't fit in. And that started off extremely early. I started to notice that as a child. I just didn't fit in with groups. I didn't fit in with family members. Like at family events, I had the hardest time fitting in with people. And I just, for the love of God, like I remember, and I've been going back and forth, maybe because I'm writing this book, of why was it so hard for me? Like, why was it so hard for me to find a following, to make friends? Like, I was always a loner. Like, and I'm not kidding you. And I was an only child as well, and so I don't know what was wrong with me. And even to this day, I still kind of feel that. Now, this is getting very, very vulnerable about how you stay relevant in your business, because I think this is important to blurt out a little bit. I'm going to give you a little bit of an insight of who Martha really is and how Martha really grew up. But Martha was a loner. She was a loner. I had the hardest time making friends. From a very early age, my friends were guys. I don't know why females and girls I could never get along with. I have 3 girls that are my friends to this day that I consider sisters. That's it. I don't have a slew of girlfriends that I can just lean on and they're just my friends. And, I had that in high school. And I think that was the only time I had that. But to this day, I don't have that. And so growing up, I was always picked last for sports stuff. I was last picked on teams. I was just a nerd. From like 2nd grade to 6th grade, second grade to 9th grade, I wore glasses. When I got into high school is when I got out the contacts. And I think because kids are so mean, they will find something to pick on you, make fun of you of. So of course, I was the one odd kid out with glasses, so everyone made fun of me for having glasses. And so I just I could never fit into groups easily because I had the one thing that no one else had. And so I had to sit there and just be comfortable being alone. And to this day, I'm still that way. Even though I am married and I do my own thing and, I still kind of feel alone. That makes sense. And so me not fitting in boxes has been a reoccurring thing. I was also a ballet dancer. So I did have friends in dance. So when I was not in school with just being alone, I went to dance class and I at least had a couple of friends there. And those friends were obviously my friends in high school. But because I had dance, even though dancing for me was a double-edged sword because it really fucked up with my head with body dysmorphia. I always thought I was bigger than what I really was. I had someone send me a picture the other day of me in high school and I'm like, wow, I thought I was fat. I am freaking skinny here. I'm just like, what? Like, how did I think that? But dance did that to me. I was never good enough. And I knew, and I think that's where my mentality of me not being good enough, me being alone, me not really fitting in with people, like that's what it summed up to, is like, Martha, you are not enough. You are just not enough. And I've kind of kept that mentality for the longest time. And I don't know why. That's a mentality I got to let go of. I honestly feel like maybe at this point I should just go see a therapist. But writing this book has opened my eyes as to this is why I became who I became. I was one of those people that got told, even at a very young age, that I wasn't good enough, that I would never make it. I was too stupid. I was, all these things, all these awful things that were told me at such a young age. And I don't know where this resilience came from. And I know my mom actually told this story to an aunt a while back. But I had a moment where I was at a party as a family function. I was crying in the yard. No one wanted to play with me. Like I had just gotten into a huge fight with some of my cousins, which is why I don't have a relationship with my cousins anymore. I only knew them when I was young. I see them on social media now. I see a lot of family members on social media. We don't interact. In fact, I actually dropped a lot of them on social media. This is what pisses me off about social media. I know you're watching, but I know you're not supporting. And before I even had a business, I saw family members. Facebook tells you when it's someone's birthday. And I think birthdays are the days that, for me, is the highest day of the year. Like everyone has Christmas as their highest day. No. My birthday is the highest day of the year because I was born. I was put on this planet for something spectacular, okay? In my mind, that's what I think because I know that's what I'm going to be. So I hold my birthday in high regard. So back in the day, Facebook, I had all the family members on. Like everyone was keeping in touch with everybody. I had already moved. A lot of people don't like to leave their home state or their hometown because they don't, when you've gone off and made it outside of your hometown, people perceive you in a way that isn't really accurate. And so I don't know if people were just, I have cousins, I have cousins I haven't talked to in years. I've seen them on social media. They don't talk back to me. But every year, my birthday would come around. And I got more birthday love from all my friends that I had at that point. But like none of the family members would say, "Hey, happy birthday." I think I have like one aunt, two aunts maybe that reach out like, "Oh, happy birthday." But none of their kids do. It's so weird. And I think what really pissed me off. So I have a half sister, and she obviously is older. She's 10 years older than me, but we have the same birthday. And one year, and she's friends with the same group of people too. Like she's friends with the extended family. And so because my sister lives in LA, at time to time I will go and see her. I haven't seen her lately, and that's my fault. I just haven't made the effort to do it. But we used to spend our birthdays together. Once we moved closer to each other, we're like, you know what? Let's make up for lost time. Let's spend our birthdays together. So, there was one year, I think it was at one point I was like, this has on my top 10 favorite birthdays. We went to Universal Studios. And there was a year, I think it was right before that Universal Studios birthday. My sister bought a cake and we did our birthday celebration at her house, and we have the same birthday. And so we put up videos, like she threw some cake in my face. Like I was like, damn, but we had a great time. What pissed me off was I had relatives that were like, happy birthday, so-and-so. And I had to go in the comments like, it's also my birthday too, jackass. But it's because people don't like you. And I think at that point I told my mom, I was like, I'm done with all this entire family. Like, I'm done. I don't care anymore. So I deleted a lot of family members because I was like, what is the point? We're allegedly family, but yet there's no support. Like, you pretend I don't exist. Fuck you, because I'm doing better than you people. Like, that's what I don't understand. And that rhythm of life has continued. And so when it comes to today, I have a handful of friends. I have a handful of people that know that I'm going to make it. They know I'm going to be successful. They are behind me all the way. But back to how do we stay relevant? The unfortunate part of that is you have to be out there. And like I said, I've wanted to retreat. My husband is not on social media at all. Like, we don't take pictures together because he doesn't want to be on social media. He's like, I'm the behind the scenes person. And at one point he was very heavy in it, and now he's like, not on it. And I have been wanting to retreat and step back. I've sat here and thought, if I just back off, that might boost the business a little bit to where people probably be like, oh shit, where'd you go and where'd you come back from and what'd you do? But the problem is like, because I'm the face of the company, I can't disappear as much as I want to. And part of being relevant, and I tell a lot of business owners, because a lot of business owners don't do what I do. They're not in front of the camera. They're not in your face. They're not telling you about their business. And I think there's a reel I made. In order to have a business, you have to talk about your business. You have to have a business. You have to talk about your business. And so I can escape. As much as I would love to retreat into the darkness and, come back 100 pounds later and be like, surprise, bitches, I can't, because I have to be here and the business has to shine. And so with that being said, you have to be out there. And I've had to tell a lot of business owners, you have to show your face. People have to get to know who you are as a person. And this part of my life I have not wanted to share until now, because I feel like in order to stay relevant, you have to tell the world why people should work for you and work with you. I am extremely vulnerable on the MDMC webpage. If you go to the About page and you figure out what led to me being an entrepreneur full time, you'll be like, damn. And the interns that I interview love that about me. They're like, your story is amazing. And I'm like, that's only part of the story, honey. You haven't heard the entire thing. She's like, I want to hear more. I want to work for you. And, I've been so fortunate to have amazing interns come through that door that have taken the time to read the About section of MDMCentertainment.com and be like, damn, you've been through some shit. Like, no shit, And I don't like to be vulnerable, but I'm going to be very vulnerable in this video, in this podcast, because I don't like people knowing how I think. But I think if you understand why I do what I do, then you get it. But I've always been that person that people never wanted to see win. I was always the underdog. I remember, again, my mom told my aunt about this conversation where I was left in the yard by myself crying. And I remember looking up at those stars at night and say, I'm going to be better than all you fucking people. At 5 years old, I put that out into the universe. And this is long before I knew about manifestation and everything else. I made that declaration that says, I will be better than all of you. Now, am I better than all those people? Not really. No, but it gave me the gasoline to move forward in life and to give it my all to everything. Like, I remember people are just mean people and they don't want to see you win. And I think a lot of business owners out there, I remember seeing this meme of a person saying, hey, I got the job. And there are over 100 likes, like 50 comments. And then that same person will be like, I started my own business, and there's like 3 likes. It's because what you're trying to accomplish is out of the realm of thinking of other people. And they're like, whoa, You think you can start a business? Bullshit. And that's why my views are way up. My interaction is very low. And it's so sad. And I think, and I don't talk about this enough, and I never wanted to. I never wanted you to see the cracks that lie within me. But again, I've been that person that has been told they would never make it, that they would never achieve what they're dreaming. And I'm just someone who people don't want to see win. And I don't know why. I don't know what I've done to you people. I really don't know. And I think it's because I've had the balls to stand up and say, you know what? No, this is what I want in my life, and I'm going to make it happen. And I have gone over obstacle over obstacle over obstacle to be where I am today. And that's why I say I don't fit in boxes. And I knew this growing up. I just didn't fit in with these certain people. I didn't fit in here. You know, I had a group of girls who were my friends from dance. Those were that was my saving grace as a teenager. You know, I had someone to talk to about boys about, you know, like, thank God those girls were around. Like, I'm not happy how that all ended, but you know, at least I had them for the time that I had them. And people come and go in your life that are meant to be there for the season or the reason, you know? Yeah, just, it's tough. And so the more and more I've talked to business owners about staying relevant and being out there, have a similar story to myself. And I think all business owners have a similar story. They just didn't fit in, or they don't want people to see what they're doing, or they don't want their stuff poached because certain people hate them. Like, it is more of a problem than there is with anything. I remember, and again, this is, and I see this, and I'm not trying to say please feel sorry for me, but like, I don't know what I have done to people, or what it is that just makes it impossible for me to have that large team of people rooting me on, because I don't have that. And I've actually told Facts of Life founder Alex, I'm like, you know, I was going through my reels and I was going through social media, and I'm like, I think I'm the problem. And he's like, what do you mean? And I said, people don't like my stuff. Like, I'll sit here, and reels has really gotten on my nerves because it's such a big deal with social media now with Instagram. Reels is the thing. If you look at all of my clients, Reels is what I'm having to do. A lot of it is switched now to Reels. Now I've taken off of the static and gone into Reels videos and things like that. So I'll sit here and like, I'll record shit. I'll get dressed up and I'll record that. I have a series right now that says questions that I get asked as an entrepreneur. So every day I have something new that I talk about. And I actually took that idea from DDP, Diamond Dallas Page, because every day he does a quote and it's him talking. And I'm like, oh, I want to do something like that, but I didn't want to steal quotes because that's his thing, you know. But I was like, I got to do something that gives me something that people are going to watch and understand that's useful. And so, you know, I was like, all right, let's take a peek at who I am professionally. And that's a way I've been able to stay relevant, is to kind of give out my education to that. And I can, you know, I know there's a colleague of mine. She's not a colleague anymore. Actually, she left me on red and I absolutely despise her now. But, you know, that girl moved here from another state, and she just kind of found her tribe. Like, it sucks because there are people out there that get over 100 likes on posts, and like the highest I can go is maybe 75. And it has to be a really good post. But you know, the amount of likes, the amount of support, it sucks. Like, I see other people that don't deserve it have that following. Like, there's someone I watch. We could have been partners. And it just kills me. Like, I think it kills me that the person has so much support. I don't know where they got it from. because there are some business owners, and these last two people I just mentioned have gone off to become entrepreneurs. And I'm just like, where's my tribe? And where, and so, and that's exactly what Alex said. He's like, you need to find another tribe of people that will root you on. And so sometimes I just feel like I don't have that. But when I go live to a place and do something, like do an event or something, people like rush to come see me. They're like, hi, oh my God, can I take a picture with you? I'm like, what? Okay. And I'm just like, whatever. And I'll take a picture and be like, yeah. I had someone at LAX Fan Fest who met me in June, bought a bunch of stuff, took a picture with me. I wasn't there. Alex was there. He's like, some dude was looking for you. And he's like, who's this dude? It's like, he's a customer. And so, but he was just, and of course, Alex was like security at this show, but like, he's like, give me the side eye, because this guy, like, I brought up one of my posters and it has me on it. He's like, I'm gonna take pictures with both Marthas. And so I'm just sitting there taking pictures and stuff, and Alex is sitting there like, what the is happening? I'm like, so I do get the reassurance. I'm like, see, I do have fans, but it's got to be people, and I see it more and more. It's people that are strangers that don't know anything about you, but they like what you do. And sometimes you're blunt and real. And I have not wanted to pull this part of me because I get emotional. I don't even want to finish this. Like, I'm to the point where I might just delete this and this may never be the light of day. But I don't want to feel sorry for myself either. Like I don't want to sit here and be like, why did anyone like me? Because that's not the case. I think the problem is, and I told my mom this recently because I just saw her like last weekend, and I said the problem is, and I've gone through enough research. I mean, because I'm writing this book, because it makes me emotional, I had to go and oh God, I've only cried on another video when I was talking about how I lost my last job, but I don't want to get emotional here, but oh God. But the reason people act the way they do to you, to dim your light, so to speak, is because people can see you're meant for bigger things. They know you're going to make it. And so even at a young age, I think that was always my problem. My mom was like, even in grade school, she was like, these kids don't live the life you live. They don't have nice clothes like you do. Like, they see you're going to be, and she used to tell me that. She's like, they know you're going to make it. And a lot of the kids I went to grade school with, like, either died or didn't even finish high school. Like, I think me and I think my hairstylist, Paul, out in Dallas, and Ivan graduated, I think we're the only three that made it out and actually succeeded in the world. And I'm just talking grade school. I'm not talking like middle school, high school. But people can instantly pick up like, oh shit, you're on a different level. And people don't like that. And I think that's always been the issue with internally with family and stuff. I think, I would get slide remarks when like I was trying to interact with family. I remember a family member that had left the state, had come back, and there was like a party. And I'm like, oh, the food looks good. And the first remark out of someone, and this, I got rid of a lot of family on social media, was like, well, if you hadn't moved to California, you'd be here. And I'm like, that sounds like a personal problem. That sounds like a personal dig. Like, you could leave if you want to. Like, no one's stopping you. You can go and do your own thing too. And yeah, people don't. They just sit and hate. And that's why this whole thing about how do you stay relevant is difficult, because you have to put your business out there. I remember when everything, and I think honestly, when I first had to go out and start talking about MDMC and how I was doing all of these things, when I lost my job with the business coach, I came out and I was doing these videos like, hey, what's up? This is me. I'm running my own business now. MDMC is a full-time gig. Hire me. And I started to do, because I saw the business coach doing this, I was like, she's right. You do have to put yourself out there. You have to stay relevant. I started doing these videos. I was like, all right, let me, kind of like business building, but I would do like daily videos of like, oh, hey, if you want to do this, like quick little tips, and if you go back, I just saw the video where I had the Marvel entrance for MDMC. So it was MDMC and then it had the red background. When I was like, this is the shit, I was like, because it was right around this time. The anniversary of me getting fired actually just came and went. I just missed it. I was like, I don't feel like really talking about it this year. Because there are years where I'm like, you know what? I kick ass. Fuck you, I no joke. That's how I feel sometimes. And so I will sit there and make a post, but I didn't feel like it this year. I'm in my own head at the moment. I'm more focused on 2023 right now. I'm trying to get over this. But ironically, my group of dance friends around that time frame had come out to San Diego. The youngest sister was actually getting married. And I was like, oh, all these girls were in my wedding. Like, I saw the video and I was still working for the business coach when that happened. But I saw the video. They're like, oh, we're surprising so-and-so for, her bachelorette trip. She doesn't know where we're going. And so I guess they made her type in her information for her plane ticket. And then she's like, oh, hey, I'm going to San Diego. And I was like, oh my God, so exciting. The weather's still good. You guys are going to have fun, blah, blah, blah. They all knew I lived here. And of course, these are friends. I'm 36 now. These are friends from when I was like, how old was I? 10 to like college. So like 10 to 21. They were in my wedding, So they were friends for a good decade. And they all ended up, again, these are people I got removed from my Facebook. But these were all people that knew I lived here. And the week that I lost my job, I felt like shit, and my friends were coming through town and no one called me. I just remember feeling like shit. And I'm like, wow, all right. And so I started commenting on their stuff and I was like, wait, they know I'm here. And I was waiting for, because one of the other sisters were like, oh my God, yeah, you're here. Yeah. Okay, great. We're excited. We're staying at PB. And I'm like, cool. But I didn't get a DM or anything. I was just like, okay. And the oldest sister was the one who I was absolutely best friends with. I heard nothing from them. And I remember doing this video and actually talking about this. I'm like, man, fuck these bitches. I'm here working. I'm trying to get my business off the ground. Someone hire me. I do this, and this. And so, but I remember just the sting of it. You guys used to be my friends. What? And so going back to that conversation I had with my mom, I was like, I haven't had friends that have literally dropped what they're doing to come and support me. I've never had, my mom's like, I've never had that. To this day, I don't know what that is. And I was telling her, I'm like, Alex, I don't know. I don't have the full story on how he did it, but Alex is a very busy guy. He's a father. He's a full-time employee. I remember there were times where I couldn't, even when I was in New York, I couldn't even see him. He was busy or, he was working or whatever. And there were days where I'm like, all right, I'm going to skip over you and then I'll just go hang out with my other friends until you're available. And so I told my mom, I was like, I don't know how he pulled it off. I don't know what happened, but he's like, and I still have the text messages. It made me cry, but he's like, this is the biggest thing you've done in your business. I have to be there to see you do this. And I'm like, oh, that's why I was like, I'm ugly crying. He's like, ugly crying is your new thing now. I was like, I get it. I'm sorry, but that is so sweet. And it hit my heart because you don't have a tribe like that. And staying relevant and telling people your story or about your business, it can be hard for people. Like, I have people who are business owners that say, I don't want to go out there. I'm not telling everyone, like, I'm not showing people what I'm doing. Just focus on the business. And I'm like, all right, if you don't want to stay relevant, if you don't want to create that personal touch with somebody, then don't do it that way. We'll find another way until you're comfortable telling people who you are, what you do, and you're in front of a camera. Like I said, and I think it's a question on one of my entrepreneurial questions. It's coming up in the reels. Go to the IG account and watch those, because those are really good questions I answer. But one of the things that is told, and I say this all the time, is like, I didn't have the self-confidence. If you look at me now versus when I started getting in front of the camera, and maybe the first episode of Business Building and Beyond, my face is fucking fat. Like, I did not realize how heavy I was until I saw a picture of 2020 and me now. I'm like, oof, like, that's a 60-pound difference. Like, I didn't realize, how much, and I think it's a true testament to my lifestyle now, because I'm happy. When I was working for other people and forced in a box I didn't fit in, yeah, I'm going to be unhappy. I'm going to eat junk food. I'm going to do all this shit that's not good for you. And it's true. And now I feel better than I have in a long time. And so staying relevant, you have to sometimes put yourself out there, regardless of how you feel, because at the end of the day, you have to sell your business. You have to tell people who you are, what you do, and to make that connection. So people are like, you know what? I want to work with them because they have something important to say. They are good at what they do. And so I myself had to get comfortable getting in front of a camera to tell you, hey, even today, like, I don't like getting vulnerable, and I don't like talking about this part of my life because it's so sad. But I'm going to eventually start doing that here soon, where I am going to have to tell everyone, hey, this road to get here sucked. It was hard. It was rigorous, but I made it to the other side, and I am here to tell you that it's possible. And to stay relevant, sometimes you have to get past that idea of who's watching and who's saying things about you, or who's, you have to get past it, because at the end of the day, you have a business hanging in the balance. And if you're not out there talking about how great it is, no one's going to hire you. Your business will go under. You have to be out there. You have to, either, whether it's Instagram stories, like I'm doing my entrepreneurial questions, pictures of you and the staff, you working on something. As long as you are in the front lines, explaining what you're doing day to day and moving on and doing what you need to do not care about the rest of the noise. I've had to tune out people, or, well, I'm a blatant bitch. Like, if someone's like, oh, I see everything you're doing, the first thing I said was like, how come you're not liking our content then? And they're like, oh, no shit. If you're gonna sit here and support, don't just sit here and be like, I'm watching you. Like, people are watching. And I tell people all the time, and it's a quote I constantly throw up on the MDMC IG: keep promoting your business because people are watching. They're watching with all they have. And that's when the people hate you, because they still, like I said, my numbers are in the green, but interaction, zilch. It's always going to be in the red. I can never get past that, even as a marketer, because people will immediately say, well, Martha, you're running a freaking marketing agency. How come your social media is not up? Look, man, I'm busy making people other money. Like, I don't got time to worry about me. I'm worried about them. That's why MDMC still, I think, at 4,200 people. I think it needs, I'm working on it, guys. I'm working on it. But you have to get over the hump of wondering what eyes are watching you. You got to get over the shyness of being in front of a camera. You have to get over all that, because if you don't, you're just going to be one of those weird companies that lives behind a logo and no one knows anything about. And how can you trust it? Like, I can't do business with people I can't physically see, because then I'm going to think it's a scam. Me, I'm here in person. Like, this is who you get. You know, when we set up a one-on-one and I show up on that Zoom, it is me. Hello. Not just someone that you hit up on a faceless company's website and you're hoping that they can give you what you want. Doesn't work that way. You have to stay relevant, you have to stay in front of the camera, and you have to tell your stories. And I am slowly but surely stepping out and telling more of my stories. This one was a hard one to get through. But I have to go. I have a staff meeting. But I hope you enjoyed today's episode. It was a little emotional, it's a little off the beaten path, but I hope what you take out of this podcast, out of this video, and you take it to heart and you run with it and tell everybody how amazing you are, and continue to doubt the naysayers because they just want to see you fail. Just show up with a big smile and say, I'm here. They hate that. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.